We are back. New episode. Willie B Pod in the mix, in your car, in your headphones, on your laptop, on your phone. However you're here, thanks for being here. If you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be great. I really appreciate that as I hit my hand on this red locker thing that's next to me. And it's not even that big of a deal. It didn't hurt me that much, okay? Look, man, tour's out. The 2024 nationwide tour has finally been launched. I can tell all the dates. Tickets are moving. Fired up about it. Took a lot of time and effort to get this together, and I'm so excited that it's finally on sale. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to run through all of the dates, the 17 cities I'm hitting in this first chunk of the tour. And then for kind of the other episodes after that, I'll keep it pretty brief to the upcoming ones instead of running down a bunch of cities. So real quick, I'm going to fly through these. April 12th, Los Angeles. April 17th, Sacramento. April 18th, San Francisco. And then we go to Providence, Rhode Island. And by we, I mean me. April 26th to the 27th for 4 shows in Providence. And then May 10th through the 11th, Portland, Oregon. May 31st to June 1st, Seattle, Washington. June 6th, Brea, California at the Brea Improv. June 20th, San Antonio, Texas. June 21st to the 22nd, 4 shows in Austin, Texas at Creek in the Cave. Fired up about that one. And then I go to Panama City, Florida, June 28th to the 29th, another weekend. And then come home and then fly my ass right back to Florida, July 19th through the 20th, St. Petersburg, Florida. That's also kind of near Tampa. So for your Tampa folk, that's going to be that's going to be my Tampa shows for the year. So, and then I go to doing some Texas stuff, man. Back at it, July 26th to the 27th, Houston, Texas. And then July 28th, that Sunday, I'll be in Dallas, Texas at the Addison Improv, one of my favorite clubs in the entire universe. Can't wait to be back there on a Sunday. And then I'll be in Washington, D.C. at the Arlington Draft House, August 9th through the 10th. And then Chicago, Illinois, I'm back at Zanies Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with your boy at Zanies, Chicago. It's like a residency, dude. It's like a week with Willie B in Chicago. Stoked on that. And then September 6th through the 7th, San Diego, California at American Comedy Company. And then I wrap it up September 12th through the 15th, Sunnyvale, California at Rooster T. Feathers. That's all we got, man. A lot of dates. Way more to come for October, November, December. All the cities will be added there. So we're talking probably cities like Denver, Philly, New York. Where else? I mean, those are some big ones, but I'm just adding a bunch of other cities. So stay tuned. That's what I got so far. Just so excited to finally talk about it and have it just be up and running, you know? It's so on the podcast today, I'm going to talk about kind of how the tour came together at the end, talk about the college show I did, and I want to talk about the Just for Laughs showcase I also did this week. So some cool stuff going on. Tell you what, man, the tour really came down to the wire, meaning, you know, to have a sort of tour announcement like this, the way I like to do things is I like to have, you know, be able to post a flyer with a bunch of cities, a bunch of dates, and all at once. To me, it's from a marketing standpoint, is a lot easier because I can just have everything in one place. I can have a flyer, you know, pinned to all my socials, so it's just everything's in one place. I think it's hard for me if it's, oh, here's a flyer with 5 cities, then here's another flyer with 3 cities. There's a one flyer, and people do that, and it's not that big of a deal. But that's just my preference. I like having it all in one place. But to achieve that sort of tour launch is, you know, I basically told my agent, I was like, hey, I want it by this day. End of February is when I want to launch these cities. So that kind of gives her a deadline because I'm not doing much at this point. I'm just saying, you know, I'm kind of accepting or vetoing different options, right? Like, for example, a good example of like what I had to kind of figure out was, do I want to do like a one-night show at the DC Improv or a weekend at the Arlington Draft House, which is not as prestigious of a club. It's 15 minutes outside of DC. But to me, it's a no-brainer. I'm like, picking the weekend, better offer, heard the club's great. But that's the only really input that I'm giving is kind of club choices like that. And obviously the initial, like, here's the cities I want to go to. So that was my role in that. And again, it was kind of like, you know, to do this type of tour launch where it's all these cities at once, you also need, what I want to have happen is all the tickets to be going live as well. So it's like, not only do we have to have the cities locked down, but also everything has to be on sale. And that's my preference. Because, again, I don't want it to be like, everything's on sale, except Austin will be soon, Brea will be soon. I want everything to be boom, we're up, we're live, we're going. So I'm gonna kind of break down the last few days of the launch, because it was a little bit dramatic, which is I don't know, dramatic could be a strong word, but basically last Friday is when I wanted to launch the tour, and she asked if I wanted to do Brea on that Wednesday, and I was like, yeah. It wasn't really on my list to do. I did Orange County kind of recently, but you know what? Who am I to say no to an offer from a club like that? So I said, let's do it. So now she has to get that ticket link, up and running in, a day, right? That's Wednesday. I need it up by Friday. And at that same time, I also asked about San Antonio, because that was on the list to do this year. And what she was going to do is put San Antonio with another run of Texas shows. For example, Houston. We can, if I'm already going to be in Texas, if I'm doing Houston on a Friday, Saturday, put San Antonio for the Thursday, put San Antonio for Friday. Or we got this Austin offer for Creek in the Cave. And here you go. Hey, put San Antonio before or after that, if that makes sense, right? While I'm already out there. And we didn't have it on the books yet. So I had to be the one to be like, hey, we should probably get San Antonio, huh? And she's like, cool, I'm on it. Hit them up. But again, I'm now waiting for that to come in, and it has to be live. So it has to get the offer in, we accept it, and then it has to get the ticket links published within like a day. So, dude, it's kind of run and gun a little bit. So, and this is when I'm traveling to the East Coast to do the college show. So I'm kind of just waiting by my phone, just kind of at bated breath to like see if we can get everything locked down. Sure enough, Thursday comes. Brea on sale. Boom. Sick. But now we haven't heard back from San Antonio. And Austin, the ticket links are not up either. So again, kind of like getting a little nervous, like really hoping this comes together. And sure enough, I'm in the green room for the college show. Green room's a strong word. It was a classroom. And sure enough, boom, we get the San Antonio offer. Fuck yeah. Got it. Stoked. But now we need these tickets live by the morning, right? Friday's the announcement. We're at Thursday night now. Austin's not up. San Antonio's not up. It's like, uh-oh. Still a little worried. But finally, it was like 10 p.m. East Coast time. The San Antonio tickets are already on sale. Legit like a 3-hour turnaround time, which is crazy. And 10 minutes later, boom, Austin on sale. Up, live, done. And we fucking did it. Shout out to my agent. Shout out to my agent's assistant. Like, I basically created this deadline, and they fucking nailed it. And they got me exactly what I wanted. I was able to announce it the way I wanted to. And it was so satisfying. And now comes the fun part. I got to do the shows. Now comes the part that I have control over, is ticket sales and stand-up comedy. Which, if you're new here, that's my whole thing. And yeah, dude, I created all the flyers. I redesigned my website. I do all that stuff myself. I'm a web designer, dude. I'm fucking hacker. I'm a hacker, man. Hacking into the mainframe, designing websites, dude. I do it all, man. I figured out how to do it all. That's a better way to say it. through just trial and error and not wanting to hire people. Basically, because I'm cheap, I became a web designer. and yo, it's not a Willie B tour poster if there's not a fuck up. Every poster I do, something's wrong. It's a spelling error, a date's wrong. It's every time. And sure enough, fuck something up. Spelled everything right this time. Last tour poster, I spelled Columbus wrong, and everyone was like, hey, what's this? I'm like, dude, let me live. I'm doing this myself. On my flyer, I fucked up the dates for San Diego. I put 7th through the 9th, and it's 6th and the 7th, and it made me really upset. Because once it's posted, that's it. Of course, if whenever I put it, re-promote the shows, obviously I have the right dates, but it's like having that pinned flyer, which I've mentioned. If there's a fuck up in there, it's going to live there. So was annoyed about that. And it's funny, man. Like I didn't live with the excitement of the tour for very long before it transitioned into stress. And I didn't know that was going to happen because, we've been working on getting this tour together for months, man. It's taken a lot of work and, kind of waiting around and hoping and crossing our fingers and making financial decisions and all this shit. But it's like, after I posted the flyer and I'm like, oh, the relief, the excitement. And then like the next day I'm like, oh shit, like how is this going to go? How many tickets am I going to be able to sell in these places? These are bigger opportunities now. These are weekends. These are big clubs. These are famous clubs. It's like, I caught myself being pretty stressed, like right off the bat. A couple days later, just feeling like, man, I'm getting worried because and I've talked about this before with kind of with the OCD that I have. It stems a lot from like, uncertainty. And so it's kind of like not knowing how the shows are completely going to go. It's a little scary. I think the LA Netflix show that sold out in like 3 hours, I think that's a good indicator that I'm still, still got some juice going. But you just get a little nervous, right? So I'm trying to do the best I can to just enjoy this moment and enjoy. It's like I know what I'm doing in terms of marketing and selling myself and promoting the shows. It's like I'm really good at that. So I just have to trust the process and trust that that's going to work. But I hope that makes sense that the excitement quickly turns into like, oh shit. It's almost like you get drafted in the NBA and draft night, you're like, yeah, baby, we did this. And the next day you're like, oh yeah, I got to go out and like perform and show them that I was worthy of taking a chance on me. I just wish maybe the celebratory vibe lasted a little bit longer, but here we are, dude. I'm so excited. I really am. This year is going to be big for me. I'm excited to have you guys a part of it. Dude, comment what shows you're coming to, by the way. In the YouTube right now, dude, comment. Let me know where you're going to. How about this? If you comment whatever city you're coming to, I will reply back to every one of those comments. Okay? So if you comment, I'm writing back to you. Let me know where you're coming. Anyways, let's talk about this college show, man. I did a show. The college was Endicott College in Beverly, Massachusetts. It was about 30, 40 minutes outside of Boston. And this was the show where the description sounded pretty terrible. It was a thing of like, oh, it's going to be in the main student center and there's going to be some foot traffic. We told them to keep the volume of the noise down. Just like, uh-oh. And I actually flagged that and be like, hey, can we move the show to a different location? And they were like, no. And then like a month later, my college agent was like, hey, they changed it. They're doing it in a bar. And I'm like, okay. My first thought was like, what do you mean a bar? We're doing a college show at a bar? These kids are like 19. But I didn't worry about that. I just said, oh, we're just not doing it in the main area? Cool. Don't care. Sounds good. Right? We're going to do a quick travel check-in. Not too bad of a day. I did Burbank to Phoenix to Boston on my Phoenix to Boston flight. I'm window. I'm always in the window. By the way, sneaky favorite seat on an airplane. If I'm not in some sort of upgraded seat, I love this seat where, this is a bit of a hot take because I think half will agree, half will not, is the seat that's right in front of the bathroom. What I mean is that there's a wall behind me, so you can't recline your seat because the bathroom's there, right? There's poopy there, and you can't recline into the poopy room. But there's no one behind you. So there's no kicking, there's no weird movements, there's no talking, there's no yapping. It's just a poopy room. And I love that wall. It makes me feel kind of cozy, tucked in, but can't recline. So a lot of you are going to be like, and for that reason, I'm out. Understandable. But I like feeling kind of tucked in, right? I like feeling cozy, especially on a long flight. I'm window, behind me is poopy, in the middle is a baby. I mean, with a mom. It's not just a baby alone. Like, hey, are you going for business or fun? And I've yet to have that. In all of my flights last year, yet to have a baby. And it was like a baby, It was the mom with the baby on the lap. Infant lap infant. I think that's what you have to buy a ticket for. And I was like, here we go. Game time. Baby in the middle. Who knows what this is going to be like. And everyone always, when they see a baby next to them, everyone's like, fucking, all right. I mean, you try to control that. You don't want to be like, oh, man. You got to just be, oh, so cute. Fuck. I'll tell you what, man, this baby rocked. This baby was so well behaved. And when babies, the baby did better than I did on the flight. I was getting antsy. I was getting a little nervous. I was getting fidgety. But this baby was like, bro, chill. It's just a flight, you know? Take a load off. Relax. But when a baby's pissed on a flight, like, I get it. If I was a baby on a flight, I'd be like, yo, what? Why would you bring me here? This place sucks. It's loud. My ears hurt. I can't move anywhere. Pissed. I wish I could be as frustrated as a baby on a flight. I would love to start crying. I would love to start flailing my arms, you know? But this baby did so well, dude. Super impressive. Super impressive baby. We're going to do a turbulence check-in. I'm going to start doing this stuff. I'm going to do turbulence check-in because we all know I get a little nervous when I fly. Turbulence check-in. Pretty nasty at some points. Flying over, I think, Michigan. And coming into Boston was pretty bumpy. And I checked the weather in Boston during my layover, and the weather just said, windy. Cool. Should be pretty smooth then. Sure enough, it was windy, and we came in hot, but it wasn't too bad. Wasn't great. Wasn't great. Funny little rental car situation. Here's the theme of this trip that I wanted to articulate and make this a theme throughout my year is I'm picking comfort over money. Okay? I think in the past, I was a little cheap with money. I would put myself in bad situations to save money. I'm trying not to do that this year. And I'm holding myself accountable for talking about it on the Podski. All right? Here's an example of me picking comfort over money. They gave me the car, and they're like, it's an electric car. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And the guy was like, just a heads up, though. It's not a Tesla, so there's no like supercharging station, so you got to just find a charger, and it takes about 4 to 6 hours to charge. I hear that, and I'm like, immediate stress. Because I'm thinking, if the hotel doesn't have an EV charging, then I got to just go somewhere and plug it in for 4 to 6 hours? That just sounds like a nightmare situation. And I said, okay, can I get an electric? Can I get a gas car? And he said, yeah, it's going to be like $40 more for that. 40, $50. And at first, I think the old me would have been like, I'll figure it out. But I said, you know what, man? Swipe it. Take my money to have a gas car. Got to the rental car shuttle place and gave the guy my thing. And I said, hey, can I have a car with like CarPlay? I wanted Apple CarPlay to be able to use GPS. And he was like, I don't know. Who knows what's going to come up next? Whatever the car is, it's blah, 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 right? The car that pulls up is this fucking cool, weird, futuristic pickup truck thing. I posted it on my Instagram. I'm going to post a picture here of what it is. I think it's a Hyundai Santa Cruz. They pulled this thing up, and the guy's like, hey, I think he said Santa Cruz. He's like, hey, Santa Cruz for Joel. And I saw that car, and part of me was like, damn, it's kind of sick. I wish I was Joel. And there is no Joel to be found. And the guy at the booth says, hey, Will. And I'm like, that's my name. He said, hey, Will, you want that car? And I looked at it, and I looked at him. I said, yup. See ya. Got in the car, plugged my phone in, CarPlay, sick car, fun little vibe. I'm out of there. Spirits were high. I was pretty low when I landed on that bumpy-ass flight. Got a sick futuristic pickup truck with CarPlay. I was excited. I was so fired up. And I was going to make it to Chipotle in time for some dinner. I like Chipotle on the road because it's reliable. You know what you're getting. And it's quasi-healthy. Chipotle closes at 10. I pulled up to Chipotle at 9:52. And they were locking the door. Oh, I'm sorry. You're not closed yet. I'm going to get a burrito bowl, whether you like it or not. I hop out the pickup truck, right? Hop out the whip, walk up to the door, and luckily a Chipotle guy next to me, you know, I'm like, hey, no. I basically was like, hey, they're still open. I have to get in. I was not going to stand for not getting a burrito bowl. I said, no, I'm sorry, no. And the guy like knocked on the door or whatever. He was really cool. And a customer who's like one hand in a burrito, mouthful of burrito, just opens the door for me. And I'm like, cool. And I could tell the employees were kind of like, fuck. But dude, you're not closed yet. You can't lock the door before you're closed because dude, I'm banking on this, man. You're not closed yet. Don't be selfish. I need a burrito bowl. Got my burrito bowl. Made it to the hotel. Everything worked out. I think that's why I was so fired up when I landed in Boston, because everything worked out. I got a cool car, got the CarPlay, got Chipotle. We're safe and sound. Vibes are good. Day of the show. We're East Coast time now, 3 hours ahead. Got to bed at a decent hour. Woke up at a decent hour. Felt great. Got some Dunkin' Donuts. In Boston, there's a Dunkin' Donuts every 3 feet. I opted for Dunkin' over Starbucks because it's kind of like, bro, look at where you're at. You're on the East Coast, you got to get Dunkin', right? I will say, I would say some of the how do I say this? The workers, the clientele, that's the wrong word. The people that are hiring at Dunkin' Donuts, they could raise the standard a little bit, maybe. I went to one Dunkin' Donuts and I ordered my normal drink. I said, "Hi, may I please have 2 shots over ice with a splash of oat milk?" And these 2 ladies looked at me like I was a fucking alien. They didn't even say, "What was that?" They didn't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, can you slow it down?" They just both looked at me and didn't even say anything. And then I was like, does that make sense? I think I was like, "You guys are looking at me like I'm an alien." Like I said this to them, and I needed to run it way back and make it way simple. Dude, they had no idea. They looked at me like I ordered a Bud Light and a live chicken. Had to really slow it down. But shout out to Dunkin'. I like it, actually. They're good. I like the coffee. I like it. I'm into it. I like Dunkin'. Right? College was in the middle of nowhere. It was an easy drive to the show, though, about 30 minutes. These East Coast colleges, man, they're just in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's just a nowhere place, and then it's just a giant, beautiful campus. So they moved the show. They put it in this. So the campus, turns out, has a bar, like a campus bar. It looks like a movie set. That's what it looks like. And it has like a pool table and a bar. And I think that you obviously, well, no shit, you have to be 21 or older to enter. But for the kids who would come to the show, they actually gave people wristbands. So if you were under 21, you can still come to the show. And, it was a pretty decent setup. I was in basically the corner of a room with a wireless microphone. And then the students, there was couches, there was chairs kind of surrounding me in like a semicircle. So I saw the setup and I was kind of like, whatever, this is fine. It's probably the worst setup I've done. I've been in like a theater the last few college shows I've done, which has been really nice. But this one's a little wonky, but I knew that going into it. They, set me up in a classroom for a green room. And there was, I didn't know how many people were going to be there at the show. I was like, is there going to be 20 kids? I have no idea. I walked in and it is packed. Like every seat's taken. The bar's filled. I mean, it's like packed. I would say it was like, I tell you what, man, I don't know if I must just be getting old, because college kids, they look like they're 12. I would say it was probably 70% girls, and they legit look like they were in middle school, like 12-year-old girls. And, but I was kind of like, I wasn't really thinking about it too much. I was kind of just like, let's just get it done. Let me be a professional. And I've talked about this before, but the mantra that always goes through my head in these situations is smile and get your check. Don't make a fuss about anything. Don't be too mean to anybody or the situation. Have a good time. If they're laughing or not, doesn't matter. Smile and get your check. I had to, had checked about content restrictions. You always got to do that at a college show. You got to say, hey, what can I say? What can't I say? And the woman who was running it was kind of like, say whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm like, okay. And went up and started doing it. There's no opener. It's just me. And I'm going to put a picture here of what the environment was. As you can see, I'm just in the corner of the room. And, lighting isn't horrendous, but I'm kind of just standing there, and decent setup. I made fun of the collegiate sport stuff on the wall because it looked like very not impressive. So made some fun of the college a little bit. And tell you what, man, they were a pretty tough audience. This was without a doubt the hardest show I've done out of college. Dude, I would hit some pretty big pops, stuff that quote unquote crushes at a normal show. And the response was, that's all I got. From the 30 people that were laughing, it was, Like nothing, dude. Nothing. And I'm up there kind of just, leaving me hanging. And it's just a hard crowd, man. It's like I'm going up in front of a bunch of like 12-year-old girls and 18-year-old dudes. It's like just a tough audience. Statistically, that's a tough audience. And started to do a little crowd work. But again, doing crowd work at a college, it's again a little weird because it's like, I don't know what questions to ask sometimes. And you really can't like kind of make fun of them or, give them shit, for lack of a better term, because it's like they're like sensitive college kids. So you have to be really mindful about how you're talking to them. And so it's like doing crowd work is really hard because I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. So luckily I had some good crowd work moments. I had there were some older guys, like some senior guys that were at the back of the bar that I talked to and had some fun with, and finally got the crowd really going with that. I asked a guy, I remember like the biggest pop I got was I asked a guy, I said, do you have a girlfriend? And he said, yeah. And I said, where's she at? She said, oh, she's studying abroad in Italy. And I was just like, ooh. And my response like got the whole room. And that was like the only moment that I got everybody with that. So that was nice. I feel like I got them on my side. I went back into jokes, back to doing not great with these jokes, dude. It was like some stuff was working, but some stuff just, I don't know, man. It was a tough crowd. And, did some, my dirty jokes are not very dirty. Everything is very, very PG-13. But tell you what, man, if I'm doing jokes about like sex and I'm looking out and I'm talking to like 15-year-old guys and 12-year-old girls, that's what it looks like. And I'm like doing these jokes about sex, albeit it's very silly jokes, but it still feels kind of weird. I'm like, I know you guys are adults, but I feel like I shouldn't even be talking about this right now. Kind of weird, if that makes sense. But they laughed, so it was okay. But I was just like, oh, this is like not, this feels kind of awkward. Did my closer, did pretty well, got out of there, awkward exit, because I basically just walked in the back of the room, turned my camera off, and kind of just stood there. And a few people were like, nice job. A few people asked me questions. And then I just kind of awkwardly walked out and felt a little weird about it. Kind of didn't know how I did, I know I did okay. Asked the woman who was running it. She was just like, that was great. You did plenty of, I was like, was that enough time? I was worried about how much time I did. I think I did like 47 minutes, 48 minutes. And she was like, that was great. And so the feedback was good. Sent the good feedback to my college agent, said they had a good time, and bing, bang, boom. We did it. And that night, I went back to the hotel, and here's another check-in I want to start doing. I want to do a turbulence check-in, and then I want to do a lobby snack check-in. So what tends to happen sometimes is I'm on the road, and I'm done with my job, smoke a little joint, get some snacks from the hotel lobby thing. So here's what I got. I got a thing of trail mix with M&Ms in it, right? I got a king-size Almond Joy, basically just 4 Almond Joys in a pack. And I got a Sour Patch watermelon. And I ate almost all of it. That was a lot, dude. I was a little bit hungry for the trail mix. I wanted some treats. I wanted some bad boy stuff, right? Some candy, because I love candy. And I wanted a little bit of chocolate and a little bit of sour, so I got those 2 different things, and I ate too much of it. But I'm being honest with you guys, okay? I'm going to start doing these lobby snack check-ins, because that's who I am. Travel back to LA. I talked about this last week. I had the layover in Denver, and I was scared about it, because I had this flight last year leaving Denver that was probably the scariest flight I've ever taken in terms of the turbulence. It was really scary, not fun. And so ever since then, I avoided Denver airport at all costs. I was like, I'm not going to have a layover here. I do not want to deal with that shit again. So I had to face my fears. And flew into I did another thing where I picked comfort over money. Dude, I was returning the rental car, and I realized I forgot to get gas, but I was running a little low on time, and I said, fuck it. They're going to charge me a bunch of money, but I was like, I don't care. Because I like, it would make me potentially be late for the flight or miss the flight, and I was like, no, I'm good. Swipe it. Charge me whatever. I don't care. Take the car. I just want to get to the airport. So I did it. And they charged me like $50 for gas, for like a fourth a tank of gas. Sucks. But I still was like, swipe it. Comfort over money. Turbulence check-in. I said it drunk, but you know what I was trying to say. Landing in Denver, very nervous. Dude, it was like the smoothest descent and landing I've had in a long time. Totally fine. Whew. Relieved. But the scary part to me is leaving Denver, because that's when I had that really scary flight. So I got Southwest Premier boarding. I bought that, comfort over money. I'm first row window, and I'm locked in. I'm like, here we go, baby. Time to face my fears. Felt like I was skydiving. I was so nervous. I was like, here we go, dude. Sure enough, we take off. Okay so far. I'm able to actually track the GPS of the plane on the Southwest like Wi-Fi website, if you've ever done that before. So I can see that like the mountains we're going over, you know? And I was like really bracing myself. I was like, here we go, dude. Time to ride this fucking wave, dude. And it never came. Smooth flight. Totally fine. Bumpier landing in Burbank. Face my fears. Totally fine. I think I would like to still avoid the Denver layover because I don't want to deal with a potential turbulence type of shit like that, and because I'm a baby. But it was fine. Stoked. Face my fears. 11 hour travel day, but I made it home. Long ass way to go for one show. Not something I typically like doing, but I did it. We got through it. I was a professional, and I'm just, dude. I'm just in the game, bro. I'm just a comic doing comic stuff. Before I go on, I mentioned I had a big showcase on Monday night. I don't know how comedy fans will know this, and non-comedy fans will do a little explaining. There's a comedy festival called Just for Laughs, which back in the day, they would crown their new faces, which would be about, I'd say, 8 or 9 comedians. And these new faces would go to this festival in Montreal, which is the biggest comedy festival in the world. And they would essentially, showcase their best material for industry, and that oftentimes would change their lives. People would get sitcoms, people would get agencies, people would become headliners, people would get huge deals. It was a massive deal. But times have changed a little bit with the internet. It's, people can kind of create their own audiences and their own careers, right? We don't need to be on a sitcom anymore. Guys like me, it's a perfect example. I've never been on a big thing. No movies, no TV show, just everything is myself. So, and I already have a touring agent with, arguably the biggest agency in the biz. So it's kind of like me doing Just for Laughs is not as, it's not like it's my end all be all, right? So again, at this point, if you get new faces, it's still a big deal, but it's nowhere close to what it used to be. I did my first audition for JFL last year. Didn't do well. Uncharacteristically didn't do well. Like, I don't know what it was, but I kind of just cobbled a 6-minute set together, and I said, yeah, this should be good. I opened really strong and then proceeded to just go worse and worse and worse and worse before I got off on a weird note. Not a good set. Didn't think it really affected me, but it really did. For the next week, I was like super in my head about it. I was insecure. I lost my confidence. It kind of fucked me up more than I'd like to admit. So this year, I got an audition again. And this time it was at the Laugh Factory, which is a place that I've actually never performed at, even though to me that should be like my home club. I am such a Laugh Factory comic compared to again, hopefully this is a lot just for the comedy nerds here, but the Comedy Store is a little more grungy, it's a little more edgy. To me, I'm more of like a Laugh Factory guy because it's a little more bright, a little more Hollywood, a little more act-outy, sillier. That was where kind of Dane Cook came up, guys like that. Joe Coy, so it was just nice to be there, man. And I was doing 5 minutes. I was last on the lineup. Luckily, it was a pretty short show, so I think it was 10 people doing 5 minutes. My boy Jason Cheney was there. Good to see him. I haven't seen him in a while, so it's nice to be on the same showcase as him. And he's the best. He's blowing the fuck up now, which is awesome to see because he deserves it. And he's so goddamn funny. So if he comes to your town, go see him. And I did a completely different set than the last time, and I went up and had a great set. I went last. I feel really good about it. It was kind of a hard room. It wasn't very full. There was maybe 40 people there. Bit of a slower start for some people who went early, and but I was really happy with it, man. I just was myself. I was, not very strict with every single. I was not like, running through word for word my set. I was very much in the moment, making funny little observations, and just really was happy with myself and how I did. And I think that's just a testament to how much I've grown in the last year, compared to how I did this last year to how I did now. I feel really, really good about it. And again, who knows if I will get it. And again, it's I'm lucky enough that I've built my own career, but I still would be ecstatic at the opportunity to be a New Faces choice at the Just for Laughs Festival. So we did that, and then I get an email and a text from multiple people with an article. This is the next day, okay? I showcased on Monday. This is Tuesday. Just for Laughs Comedy Festival cancels 2024 edition and lays off staff after filing for bankruptcy. Dude, what? This festival has happened every year for 50 years, 40 years, 30 years. I clearly don't know, but they've never missed a year. Canceled. Oh, Willie B had a good set. He may get it. Canceled. Bro, wild. I'll just read some of this article on Deadline. The organizers of Canada's well-regarded Just for Laughs Festival, a major gathering in Montreal where a number of comics have been discovered, have canceled the 2024 edition and filed for bankruptcy. Several dozen staffers have also been let go as a result of the moves, which were blamed on the 1-2 punch of COVID and rising inflation. Multiple press reports has estimated that 75 workers, about 70% of the staff, have exited. Woo! Damn. That's real. Funny timing, huh? Bro, next day. Which, tell you what, I'm actually okay with that because, well, first of all, it's so out of my control. Why would I be upset about that? But so many people still have their showcases this week and next week, and they're still going to do them. And I think you're just kind of still showcasing for the booker, who I'm sure the woman who runs it is still going to have some sort of, pull in this town, in this industry. So it's good to still have her see you. But dude, imagine just auditioning for something that you're just doesn't exist. It's like auditioning for a movie that's not even going to get made. So weird. So I'm kind of stoked that I got under the wire, and I still had, you know what it was? This is exactly what it was, and I'll end on this. It was another good exercise of doing something that was high pressure and high stakes. Because sometimes people fold under the pressure of you get to do your best 5 minutes. The bookers are watching, everything's on the line. Go get it, right? And obviously everything wasn't on the line for me, but I've been in situations where I know an important person's watching, and you got to go up and do well. So I loved another opportunity to do that and do well in that. So now I'm confident if I need to do these showcases, these audition things, I got it. Been there. Just don't cancel it, please. That's it for the pod. Thanks for being here. Please subscribe. Please rate. If you listen to it on audio, please rate and review. That always helps. And you guys know that. You know what I mean? This is more just a reminder. And please leave some comments. That really helps the algorithm. And just comment anything, dude. And again, life advice is always open. If you want to DM the podcast page at Will Be Podcast. Or if you want to leave a comment on the YouTube, you can do that too. Whatever you'd prefer. Always here to give advice to people. And again, tour dates. The big one's coming up April 12th in Los Angeles. That is a different show than the Netflix show. Such an added show at Flappers, one of my home clubs. I love it there. I'm so excited for that show. Sacramento, April 17th. San Francisco, April 18th. And then Providence, Rhode Island, April 26th to the 27th. And a bunch of more cities. And everything's in the YouTube description. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Y'all are the best. Have a good rest of the week. Enjoy yourself. And yeah, man, I'll see you next week.